Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down. Inheritance coming up short. Scammers getting the last laugh. Ha! Drug lords in your future. Well, where there's a will, there's a way. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll fight for you. He'll get you the defense you deserve, but only if you say the words.
Oh no! I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh, wait. I know. Better call Saul. So without further ado, it's time to start judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, Dragon, it's been a minute, buddy. It's been a minute. Welcome back, folks, to Judging Saul. We're, the series is on episode 8. We're on episode 6. Dragon, we had to take a temporary hiatus ourselves, shall we say. We had to do a little sabbatical due to some legal ramifications that came up. That's all I will say about that, folks. But we are back judging Saul. It's on the fast track to the penultimate episode. We will have all the episodes recapped by the time the penultimate episode airs. Make no mistake about that. Dragon, let's dive right into it. Let's get into, oh, God. What episode are we on? There's
really off-brand.
Off-brand.
Now, before we get into it, let's quickly go over the director and writer. So
we were talking about expenses off air, so I had that in my head. I'm sorry.
So we're talking about off-brand. Now, off-brand was directed by, I want to say, a newbie director. We had Keith Gordon directing this one. Now, Keith Gordon, he's famous for directing episodes of Dexter, Fargo, and Nurse Jackie. All good shows.
Nice. Have you checked out Fargo yet?
I haven't. I mean, I've been going through a lot of shows. I may or may not be getting the Fargo. If it's on Netflix, I might get to it. So
they need to put it on Netflix. That would be nice.
It may be there. Yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
That'll be like me checking it if it's on their Amazon Prime.
Tiki and Dragons binge talk.
Anyway, also our writer is Ann Cherkis, or crap, it's Circus. It's pronounced Circus or Cherkis. Anyway.
Well, Andy Serkis would be like Serkis, like Andy Serkis.
Tiki, if I've learned anything from Hollywood Babylon and Ralph Garman's infinite rants on name spelling, you never underestimate the spelling of any name pronunciation.
Okay.
So, and the point is, we have also a newbie writer. So again, kind of a fresh team on this one. Really strong, kind of fresh pairing for episode 6, which is very pro because Off-Brand's all about kind of going in a new direction for Saul.
And also, Off-Brand focuses on the film crew more than I think any other episode thus far.
I just want to say something real clear to the film crew before we go on. It's relevant because they're going to, of course, have a big role going forward. And so
sure.
But ever since the beginning, you and I have been always anticipating the return of the Skater twins, and yet the film crew is film crew. Right. I'm perfectly satisfied with the film crew, to be honest with you.
Oh, I've lost hope on the Skater twins ever factoring into things again.
I'm just saying the film crew has always been fun. Kid Kubrick, Boom Guy, and the makeup girl.
I'm getting really of course I'm sure one of the moments you wanted to talk about with expenses happened with the makeup girl.
Yes.
Oh God. I know. We'll get there soon, man.
Dying on the inside, folks. Dying on the inside. Anyway, let's talk about this episode. So we start the episode as you should with any episode, a beverage. Coffee.
Oh God.
So coffee's being poured by Hector. We're at El Michoacano, which the taco place from Gloves Off.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So Nacho is taking over Tuco's kind of money collection. He's kind of in this. Well, they kind of shared it, but Tuco was always the guy handling the money and being all intimidating, giving people the death glare.
The death glare, yes.
So of course Nacho, the human lie detector death glare. That's sort of was Tuco's.
Nacho seems like the guy who's kind of like everyone's relieved when he's the guy in the office and not the boss.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and basically the setup here we get to see, and again, I think just compensating for Tuco, Hector has to be kind of that human lie detector sort of thing in the background. So, points Hector, he's overseeing things in the back. He's sitting at a table behind Nacho, very very intimidating. And oh boy, as the thing goes on, you're gonna see Hector get really intimidating in that spot. But the point is, Hector is overseeing. He oversees things as he's reading the paper very nonchalantly. It's again so intimidating how
he's like barely acknowledging the people that that speak to him.
That's the most intimidating thing we have with Salamanca. He seems so uninterested and like so kind of like just so complacent. Like he's just, but yet he's so razor focused at the same time. It's so scary how razor focused he is while he just seems so distracted or like uninterested.
Exactly.
Let's see. So our dealers are paying. Nacho's counting, and the rubber bands, of course, very important. I love now the rubber bands have all this importance with all the Gus Fring backstory. So let's see. So they basically the setups list. Okay, dealer pays, Nacho counts, rubber bands it, Don Hector, and they leave. That's the kind of standard.
Yes.
Well, Don Hector actually showing kind of the patron, if you will. Just, So all is well, and then Domingo, our favorite Crazy Eight, enters.
Oh boy.
And this possibly puts him down the path of Crazy, possibly. So we'll see.
I mean, he just seems like such a nervous guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he seems like he shouldn't even be in the game in this scene.
It's funny. It's kind of like I'm just throwing this out there. What if Crazy 8 was kind of like a Jesse Pinkman type, but after so much trauma dealing with the Salamanca family,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm throwing out there. Yeah, like he's just kind of like a kid who's sort of in over his head. Almost kind of like
if Jesse,
in a way.
If Jesse never met Walt, I think that'd be kind of Crazy 8. This Crazy 8. That's what this seems to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. It's
kind of like the Captain Cook days.
right.
Okay, let's see. So Domingo, he's he enters very friendly with Nacho. I get a sense that Nacho he was friends with Nacho on the side. Nacho kind of got him into the business, like got him in on okay, I can hook you up with like some business connections.
And for Crazy 8 at the time, it was just like, a way to make a little extra cash, and he didn't realize like the whole like selling your soul to the devil aspect of working for the Salamanca.
Exactly, and I think Nacho might have been in the same kind of headspace where just Nacho.
Oh, we definitely see Nacho in that same headspace throughout the episode for sure. Yeah,
I just like kind of reading between the lines of that sort of history. Like, since they're all really friendly to each other, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they might have. Nacho probably got him in over his head as well. So they're making with the pleasantries. Now, importantly, Domingo's making with the Crazy Eight's making with the pleasantries, asking Nacho about his father to distract from the money.
Oh yeah.
So importantly, because poor Crazy 8 has come up short.
Yeah, and it's not even his fault. Like, what was his story? It was something like one of the new kids he had basically got pulled over by the cops, and he dumped his stash in a gutter.
Yes, correctly. That's right. I'm trying to think. I forget the specifics. Essentially, yes, he got free. He got wigged out. And he ditched the stash because he thought cops were going to get him. I forget what the exact scare was, but yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right, Steve, just spooked by a cruiser. A police cruiser came by, and he dumped the stash. Car was.
Okay, I gotta say that's a pretty look. I'm not completely innocent when it comes to this thing. All right, like that's a pretty amateur move right there to just like drop your stash at the first sign of a cop rolling by.
I will say this though, Tiki. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but this just occurred to me in the moment again because we know too much at this point. But
yes, we do. Yes, we
do. An event that happened in episode of Better Call Saul coming up may kind of I'm not saying directly connects to this, but it's like similar. A police car does kind of have like a little scare effect.
Yeah, you're right. Episode. You're right.
I don't know. Maybe kind of connecting some shoelaces. I don't know. So anyway,
I'm just saying, I feel bad for Crazy 8 because it just seems like an amateur move that Crazy 8 himself would never make.
I mean, at least Badger was, again, Badger had like a mind game going on when he got pinched. So that was like a whole is he a cop? Right. Is he not a cop sort of thing? That was more, that's understandable. This is like, okay, come on, really? You got so wigged out about me. So he's trying to excuse himself and apologies, asking about the upholstery business and everything. And as he's he's trying to kind of like earn points with Nacho, and not saying, let me finish. He's just trying to be all business. Mm-hmm. Not just trying to be all business and professional because, he has the boss kind of like breathing down his neck behind him.
Oh God, right, right.
And then, of course, he tells him you're
And
light. And
this
then
is kind of
poor,
like Mark Magoulis is almost sort of like in the Tio Salamanca like grilled mode right now. You know what
oh
I mean?
yes, Tiki, you're absolutely right. Yeah, he's just kind of that. But Hector Salamanca doesn't say many. Of course, we know Hector Salamanca best for not being a man of few to actually no words at all.
Right,
And
right.
when we're starting to slowly kind of get into that mode here. You're right.
Sure, sure.
So of course, he's telling him that he's light, and then Crazy Eight's trying to make up for it, saying, "Look, I made it up best I could from his end. Basically, put his money, even putting all of his money in there, he couldn't make up the full amount, which means Crazy Eight's really in over his head." But smartly, now here's the thing: smartly, and this is like something we've always played with Nacho ever since the first episode. You know, he let kind of Saul go when he was in the desert because he was smart enough to realize, well, no, let's not kill the lawyer and bring a lot of heat and everything. He was smart enough to realize, no, we're gonna. Well, basically, he ushered in kind of Saul making the deal with Tuca. It's all because Nacho, like I said, let's not kill him. So the point is, Nacho's always been kind of the smarter, kind of less hot-headed member of the Salamanca crew. So he's allowing. He said, "Okay, you're going to make up for it double. Basically, you're going to make up for it next week with what you're bringing in."
Mm-hmm.
So then he
thanks. Just like Crazy Eight's just so relieved. He's just like, "Oh, thank you, Nacho. Don't Hector." He's just so happy to get out of there.
And again, it seems like, well, that would be a happy cold open, but we can't really have that. So. I mean, Tiki, to me, that would be, I would just go, if it ended there, that was kind of good for Nacho, good for him. But then, of course, it's in the Albuquerque verse, we always have to make things interesting and complex, which is why we love the show. Let's make that clear. So then we have this fantastic pause goes by, and then of course, Hector from behind says, Mark Margolis says, this wonderful delivery. Who works for who?
Yeah, 4 words. 4 words. That's all he needs.
Actually, it's like 5 to count the hunt. Like, who works for who? And just like that line.
Tommy Wiseau, huh? It's like the let's go eat, huh?
Kind of, yeah. So of course, basically that communicates to Nacho. You got to remind him who's boss, and if no, then of course if Nacho doesn't give that, it means he's gonna be in hot water. It's gonna have a lot of weakness will show on Nacho if he doesn't, deliver the message. Hey, don't give us that.
And Nacho takes like 1 beat. You know what I mean? He's like sitting there for like 1 second, stews it over for 1 second. Just like, he just can't let it go. He just can't stand up for himself in that moment.
You're right, and something else I want to attach to is that while the message that Salamanca is sending is twofold. One is like, hey, remind him who's boss, but also I'm reminding you, Nacho, you don't give the okay on those matters. I give the okay.
Of course, right.
So he's also like kind of keeping his own men in line versus, I mean, again, Salamanca, he's ruthless, but he is a businessman. He's like a very ruthless businessman versus kind of the psychological businessman that Gus Fring is.
It's so appropriate that those two are mortal enemies, considering that both of them are just like ruthless businessmen. Like the most ruthless of the ruthless.
Yes. So let's see. So then Nacho has to beat up his friend mercilessly.
Oh God.
And Mandow's acting, and Michael Mandow is acting. Nacho, his acting is fantastic in the scene. So sad.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this is shot so well because we focus on Hector, because basically we see him he drags Crazy 8 in, and then basically after we see that shot, then we just focus on Hector's casually, so eerily, unaffectedly drinking the coffee. Again, beverages, folks. He's drinking the coffee as just in the back. Is Crazy being dragged in the back, you just hear the brutality of it all. Just Nacho having to beat his friend mercilessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's intense stuff, folks. I mean, again, very, very genius directing on Keith Gordon's part. Whoever composed that shot. I mean, bear in mind, folks, as the guys on the Insider Podcast always like to say, we got to make it clear that it's always a team effort. So we just highlight kind of the lead guys in charge. But let's make it clear. Everyone, I'm sure the cinematographer, the cameraman, they all worked that out wonderfully, the way that transpired. So.
Yeah, and like you said, I think the cold open does a really good job of kind of like luring you into a false sense of security. It really does. You know what I mean? You're just like, you're left like, well, that was a pleasant transaction.
Yep.
All right.
Let's see. So then we have...
I have this whole speech drag, and I have word for word Kim's speech.
Well, no, Teague, we're not there yet. We have the thing with Nacho, then I'm going to get there, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry. What other thing with Nacho? Oh, yeah, that thing with Nacho. Got it. Okay, I'm sorry.
You take us through. Well, means.
Sure. So Nacho, this is kind of like the introduction to his father's business, right?
No, we met him before in season 2.
I need to rewatch season 2. I apologize.
Remember, Mike showed up at the upholstery thing to kind of tell Nacho, like, one, I can find you, and second, I'm not going to mess with your family, but you ripped off Price. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Okay.
All
right. Anyway, so this really kind of sets. It's so appropriate. Nacho's motivations, as with anyone else in the ABQ verse, for the most part, is family.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy's doing what he's doing for Kim.
Yes.
Like Walter White, of course. And I could go down the line.
Certainly.
I'd say the one that's even questionable is Gus, but even Gus is basically kind of like got that whole revenge thing with Max. So it's so very appropriate that Nacho's main motivation is his father. So I love that in the brief little interaction we get with his father. His father's just like asking him for some sort of supply. It's like, oh, it's over there, by the red something or other.
Yeah. We've always set this up that his father is unaware of Nacho's activities. And it's a really loving kind of father-son dynamic, and it's. We set up, because what we set up in that Mike interaction for season 2 is that, okay, well, the father is a complete innocent, but he's a kind of respectable guy that Mike also has like a bit of respect for.
Sure.
Just the very kind of casual. He's like, he's not in the game sort of mentality. So we had a sense of the loving relationship. Basically, they're reminding us in the scene, just in case anyone out there like maybe we haven't seen him in a long time, to be fair. So we'll sense the loving relationship between the Nacho. I call him Mr. Varga because we don't know his first name. It's like Papa or
Right.
Mr. Papa Varga, whatever. So then Nacho, I get a sense. My read on this scene, Tika, was basically after like his father's asking like where the red velvet or something, where one of the upholstery samplings is. So Nacho, he's on the sewing machine, like sewing upholstery, and I get a sense he's haunted by his actions and distracted.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We get this great shot here with this fantastic eye shot, where basically we're focusing on Nacho's eyes for a stretch, as like we know like he's just gonna be feeding the material through. And it's kind of like a worst nightmare for anyone who sews out there. This kind of unfolds where, while he's distracted, I love this. Like it's like easing in on the eye, and basically like the blink then cuts to like the thing. He just stopped. He took his foot off the pedal or whatever at the very last second, because like the needle for the thing just like went right into kind of the webbing or something of the fingers. It's really nasty. It's like right like any further would have done serious damage.
It's such a realistic looking injury. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's not like a big gaping wound, or anything like that. It's just like I would describe it as looking almost kind of like a very, very, very bad paper cut or something like that.
I get what you're saying. It's like it's like that. I think I got it. Just the paper cut thing. I'm not sure is the right word, but it's hard to describe. So
basically what I'm saying is like it's not a bad looking injury, but it would like it would sting like hell, like a paper cut would.
Yes, like that removal bit looks so nasty, just coming out like, oh god.
Right. Also, Doug, I just want to kind of do a shout out to our good friend Carlton Hughes. I'm not gonna do the impression.
Why Carlton Hughes? What do you got?
Okay, just because Lost had a lot of eye acting.
Sewing machines.
No, not sewing machines. You were talking about the eye acting.
Right.
Lost is very famous for each season of Lost opens with someone's eyes opening, like a close up on someone's eyes opening.
Right.
And that was something that Carlton Hughes actually suggested.
I wonder wherever he got it from. Dun, 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 dun. Psycho. Just the eye shot from Psycho.
Well, it all comes full circle then, doesn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Psycho, Bates Motel, I forget. Lost. It's Lost.
Anyways, okay. I have Lost on the mind because of The Leftovers. Seriously, folks, watch The Leftovers. Fantastic fucking show. Anyways.
Well, if you're going to plug that, I'm going to plug something else. I'm going to plug Gallivan for people because I've been watching that.
We already plugged?
Again!
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Go on, Kim Wexler.
Okay, right. I'm sorry.
So Kim's making her statements.
Yeah, just set the stage. We have, Kim's making her statement. At the same time, we have, I love how this is all intercut with Rebecca trying to get it, like she's pulling up to Chuck's house. She's knocking on Chuck's door.
All right. So I want to get a read on this, Tiki, because I'm curious. So Kim is making her closing statement. So this is either the same day or like day 2 after Chuck. I mean, it's either day 2 or it's like right after Chuck left.
I would guess it's day 2.
I mean, that's fair. I'm just saying,
especially because remember we have all the clients that came in.
True, very good point there, Tig. I think you might be right on that.
Yeah,
I mean, it could. To be fair, though, it could have been like later. They showed up later, like when they had like.
No, you're right, but I mean, I don't know. Just logistically, it seems like that'd take a lot of planning to do, like, that whole big thing with Chuck and the chicanery and everything, and then like, okay, let's all talk about how awesome Jimmy McGill is. That's
a good point. I'll go with you on that. That sounds good. Again, it's either or. I think it seemed like day 2, and then think it back to, wait a minute, could it be the same day? But yeah, let's go day 2. Anyway, so the point is like all kind of like the Jimmy McGill fan clubs kind of in the audience, so to speak.
Oh, God.
And just Mrs. Strauss is wearing like an I Heart Jimmy shirt.
Is she really?
No, she is. Can you imagine?
Yes, I could imagine that, and that's why I had to ask, because that sounded too peaceful.
He's got moxie.
Okay. I am sure somewhere in that deposition that phrase was uttered. I am sure of it.
Okay, anyway. It'd be great if they actually made the transcripts available. If they could have just made...
Oh, like all the transcripts from the whole trial?
Why can't they put that on the AMC website?
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
To do it, I'd happily do it.
Okay, so let's see. So basically, it's really well put there. I'm just going to describe kind of the framing of this, and you just go through what's being said.
Sure,
so essentially, like you said, so we're basically most likely day 2. Everyone's there, and Kim's just kind of basically driving home the closing statements and about Jimmy's character. While we see kind of like the ideas, like while nice stuff's being said about Jimmy, the haunting aftermath of what Jimmy did to Chuck is kind of playing out with Rebecca visiting a really torn down McGill brother.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Essentially, that's it. We have some good cuts along the way. So what's said in the scene?
Right. I want to start by sincerely thanking you for your patience during this long and emotional proceeding. Jimmy McGill has worked tirelessly to build a practice that represents an overlooked. I mixed my words on this a little bit, Dragon, but an overlooked portion of our community, the elderly. You've heard from many of Mr. McGill's clients today. Every one of them came here gladly in support of their lawyer. Mr. McGill reached out to people who otherwise may not have seen a lawyer in their entire life. He took the time to make sure their wills were properly represented their wishes at a price that they could afford. Because Jimmy McGill cares about people, he's devoted the past 3 years of his life to his brother's welfare, waking up at 5 in the morning to buy Charles's favorite newspaper from the single newsstand in the city that carries it, dropping everything to care for his brother through multiple hospitalizations, even supporting Charles's career by hand making a Mylar-lined suit jacket to spare him discomfort from exposure to electricity. And yet, during this time, Charles McGill's irrational animus towards his brother grew to epic proportions. So when Jimmy discovered that Charles had used his love and his caring against him, when he discovered that he had been betrayed by his only living blood relative, Jimmy snapped. Wouldn't you? I might. Jimmy McGill understands he broke the law when he forced his way inside his brother's house, and he is deeply sorry. He's more than ready to face the consequences. However, as for the State Bar's claim of destruction of evidence, it categorically did not happen. Jimmy McGill did not have any premeditated agenda when he entered his brother's home. He lost his temper, plain and simple. So now the question you must ask yourself is this: is the legal profession better with Jimmy McGill in it? I believe the answer is a resounding yes. All right.
So there was a line in there that basically essentially said, Jimmy's ready to face the consequences, which at that point was a really great. The only real one I want to highlight in that whole sleeve. You did a great job recapping.
Thank you.
hit upon is like when she mentions, ready to face the consequences, then we see Rebecca knocking on the door and then Chuck kind of curled up in the corner, like trying to avoid her. So that's hence the consequence. So it's a nice way of visually.
And of course, Kim is going to be way more haunted by Chuck moving forward than Jimmy is, it seems.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, I'm just saying there is going to definitely be like an aftermath, and the taking Chuck down is definitely going to form Saul Goodman in a fundamental way, which. We'll get through.
We've already kind of speculated. I think we were right on the money when we speculated about that back during episodes, like, I don't know, like episode 2, 3, whatever.
Certainly, I want to say it's really nice that the folks that Jimmy is representing, like Mrs. Strauss, they all came to help Jimmy out. That was all, and the ideas they all get glowing testimony. That was all really nice. It was just a nice little thought, It's like, oh,
yeah, totally.
So let's see. Then we'll also see the ending too, like Rebecca looking in the window and just Chuck on the yeah. Right. That's again, just Kim Wexler, best lawyer ever. It goes without saying. Just oh my God, she's so darn fantastic. And that's the one you want defending it right there, Kim Wexler.
Sure.
Let's see. Resounding yes. Right. So then they're popping champagne because after a speech, like after wonderful acting, wonderful representation like that, how do you not gather from that Jimmy's off the hook? That Jimmy, he's not losing his law license or anything. How do you not? Take away that? Okay, that was a resounding success. Now we're popping champagne to celebrate 12 short months.
I like how Kim kind of tries to bring the real world into it. Like, so what are you going to do about your clients? And Jimmy's like, whoa, that's tomorrow talk.
Yeah, the tomorrow talk for St. Jimmy, as he puts it. St.
Jimmy. Dragon, I'm sorry, I hate to bring this up. This is probably going to be a really lame reference. St. Jimmy is a rather good Green Day song.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay, so...
I'm sorry. It came to mind. Go ahead.
Then we have this really cute, heartwarming image, and just given the events of 7, which we're not going to go into, it makes us all the more sad.
I know.
We have this really cute image. It's like this cute 50s couple image of just Jimmy with his legs up, Jimmy and Kim with their legs up on each other. Really, really cutesy.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking their champagne out of their little Coke cups.
Drinking their champagne. Little Futurama reference there.
Yeah. So seriously, it's like a really nice kind of cuddly image. Like,
no, you're right, and like you said, it kind of makes it all the more all the more painful. Like, yeah, this is not going to last.
Of course, any happy moment in Jimmy McGill's life is not going to last long. If we've learned anything from this show. So yeah, you're right. Then she's at that point she's questioning what's next for a year without law for Jimmy. What's next? And you're right. Talk for tomorrow. So let's see. Tonight we celebrate toast to the world's best defense attorney, which I would agree with. Kim Wexler. I think it's safe to say Kim Wexler is the best attorney. Only best attorney, but Saul Goodman is like the most he'll going outside the rules. Obviously, would be Saul Goodman.
Yeah, but I would definitely say, like, within the legal profession of the ABQ verse, absolutely Kim Wexler.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I'm saying, like, on the sides there, it's like, again, like middle. That's on the one side you might have Chuck, on the other side you have Kim being like kind of the great on level, like absolute best one. Evil side you kind of have Chuck McGill, and then in the middle one you have like Saul Goodman. It's like, okay, it's on the line. He's so good, but at the same time he's breaking so many rules.
That sounds about right. All
right, let's see. So there's a knock at the door again. Just all the happiest, world's best defense attorney. Knock, knock, knock.
Yep.
It's Rebecca. Good old Rebecca. It's Rebecca asking for Jimmy to convince Chuck to open the door and talk to him.
One of the cringy, like, real world social moments here is like Kim and Rebecca kind of like being forced to formally introduce themselves to each other.
Right.
I'm not saying it's cringy in a bad way. I'm saying, like, it's cringy and, like, I've totally been in that situation. Like, yeah, hey, I know who you are. You know who I am. And, yeah, we have to do that, even though you're here to totally, like, talk shit about the person I'm about to have a good time with.
I get what you're saying there, because we've kind of had this thing with Kim and Rebecca where it's been sort of, Kim has kind of commented on Rebecca because, she doesn't have the intimate ties that Jimmy or Chuck has to her. She's been on the outside, just kind of like most likely Jimmy brought up to her, okay, here's our ace in the hole. We contact Rebecca, we get her in on the thing. Of course, Kim has to. That's a big kind of a Saul Goodman-esque kind of pull that Kim has kind of been I imagine as it was happening, saying, well, it might be a low blow and she's going to hate you for it afterwards, but it's definitely what we need. And of course, she kind of signed off on it. She was complicit in bringing Rebecca in. So now, whether she knows Rebecca or not, she has to live with the decision that now Rebecca's here because I signed off.
So, like I said, it's like a small little beat, Dragon. It's a small blink and you miss it beat, but the whole them basically being forced through through social cues, to I'm Rebecca, I'm Kim Wexler, just needing to have that handshake. I'm sorry, I know I'm going on about it, but I thought that was such a real thing. Anyways,
so Jimmy's trying to be polite because he invites Rebecca in, and of course, again, the idea is Rebecca's nice. Just again, she's kind of defending the devil in Jimmy's eyes.
Of course.
So he invites her in, and then basically he's trying to say, oh, he's just being dramatic, not opening the door like that. Which of course, he turns Rebecca down for a very understandable reason. Again, I want to make it clear, I'm on Jimmy's side entirely in this scene. I don't want to just be mean to Rebecca. I got to be completely honest. I'm absolutely on Jimmy's side in this scene.
No, I mean he has that great line about I've busted in my doors for
the year. I've kicked my door in for the year, which is absolutely
that's a great line.
Yes. And I think honestly, I think in this scene, Rebecca, her expectations are quite unrealistic. How in the heck did she think this was going to go after all this stuff?
That Jimmy was just going to come to Chuck's rescue after the whole hellish courtroom thing that went down. Yeah.
I mean, as much as we kind of again, we haven't seen a lot of Rebecca. Let's make it clear. She's only been in, honestly, this is her third episode. So let's make that clear. We don't really have. We just kind of like her. That's kind of generally what we feel about Rebecca. But I mean, she seems really nice, and she was really good in the last episode. So we're kind of going off that. But her expectations are completely unrealistic. She's not really thinking this one.
Right.
We gotta kind of tap her on the chin for that one. So again, slowly yet understandably, we get this basically slowly yet understandably. We see Jimmy employing some Saul Goodman callousness here, where Saul Goodman would absolutely he wouldn't. Saul Goodman's the guy who he's going to call Skyler, tell him what's going on with Walt, while holding from a payphone from an undisclosed location with holding the with the wiping everything down. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a disconnect there, and that's kind of what he's doing here. A little bit of callousness of I don't know, I'm not going to do this because this puts me in a very horrible legal position. I'm not going to risk that.
It really does, man. It really does.
Yeah, he doesn't owe Chuck, and very literally, he does not owe Chuck. I'm absolutely going to say Chuck's boned him for 12 months. He's not going to. No, I mean, you're doing this for your brother? Well, look what my brother did for me. He screwed me.
Right.
So let's see. So, I'm just trying to do 3 rounds. Oh, basically, she tries the. God, it's been a while. My handwriting's a little off here. Instead.
That's why I type my notes.
Right.
I didn't chastise you. I'm sorry.
Basically saying after what Chuck did with the tape and everything, no one would, I wouldn't blame him for going back. So she thinks that Jimmy lied to her, which Jimmy, again, very Saul Goodman-esque. He kind of points out no, I told you I was defending myself, and Chuck would need help. We needed help afterwards. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, she kind of throws this barb at him. She says, you got what you wanted, Jimmy. You got what you wanted. Now do the right thing.
That's such a Chuck thing to say.
Yeah, and the thing that makes it so, in a weird way, more sympathetic than when Chuck would do it is that, not just the fact, again, there's any likability Rebecca has, but the fact that the way she says it, it's less out of a personal vendetta. It's more of out of this sort of, look,
I know, but at the same time, she's not understanding that saying it like that, using those kind of words is just you're not going to get on Jimmy's side using that kind of language. That's all I'm saying.
But in a weird way, it has this vaguely kind of maternal sense to it of okay, I'm the adult here. I'm telling you, okay, look, your brothers have bickered and we've declared a winner, so let's just move on from this. That's essentially what she's saying. You're right, though. It's if she doesn't quite get what she's kind of putting on Jimmy here, which is insane.
Right.
Well, yeah, right. So let's see. So then Jimmy just, Jimmy tells her no, and then she, again, he's not my brother anymore. It's kind of that's Jimmy's. He directly says he's not my brother anymore. Which again, I'm absolutely on Jimmy's side. No, I'd cut him out too.
Right. Then Rebecca has a couple cutting lines out the door. She's basically like, "Well, Chuck was right about you. This was never about helping him. This was about this was about just you getting out of trouble. And he's mentally ill. What's your excuse?"
Oh yeah, that line that's the cutting line right there. Like,
no, but then Dragon, I think the most cutting line of all, the line that's just like her like taking a butcher's knife to the situation is enjoy your champagne.
Enjoy your champagne.
Actually, it's pronounced champagne. Oh God.
So two things. Just like the minute she said, he's mentally ill. What's your excuse? At one point, all the stuff that happened between Chuck and Jimmy, that had nothing to do with his mental illness. All right, let's make that clear.
Right.
That was all Chuck just being malicious to Jimmy. All right, that taping his brother. Again, that's Rebecca again not understanding what she's talking. That just shows you. To me, that colors it officially. Jimmy's in the right here versus. Mm-hmm. There's Rebecca in this instance, and then you're right. That champagne just really put a damper on the party, Rebecca. So she's putting a damper on the celebration.
It's like how could Jimmy and Kim possibly enjoy that champagne now? They just can't. It's like she cursed the champagne.
Yeah. And then Kim has a line that we didn't see. It was in a deleted scene somewhere. Just Kim saying, "Well, we can't drink this anymore," and then Jimmy said, "Darn it." Freaking Rebecca. I tell you, I've been watching Mr. Show, and just every time Bob Odenkirk just curses, it's hysterical. Really, it's just him yelling. It's just always funny when he yells. Sorry, it's brief, but Bob Odenkirk related tangent. So let's get back to the episode.
Okay, so let's see. We have a support group with
Stacy.
Yeah, with Stacy and Mike. Basically, it's widowers. I want to say like widows and widowers.
People have. You're right about the widows. I'm just thinking it's also like there are other people. Anyone who's lost someone. It's like it's a grief support group of some kind.
Like it could be that, but all I'm saying is that like we meet the woman in episode 7, and she's also a widow. So
you're right.
I'm thinking it could be exclusively widows and widowers.
Yeah, that's fair too. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch those specifics. I think you're right. I think it is widow. It would make sense for widow. I'm sorry. Yes. So support group for the widowers. So Stacy's sharing this memory she has about the story about how Maddie made Kate. Oh, this story. It takes the story. It's really sweet.
Oh yeah. So Matt used to make Mickey Mouse pancakes.
Adorable.
Oh yeah. And you could just picture little Kaylee like loving that, and
Mickey Mouse pancakes.
And so when Kaylee found out, Stacy, she's tried to make daddy pancakes.
Oh God.
I know. And it's hard. Separating the ears are really hard. Matt made it look easy.
And in the directing, really build the Mike reveal. By the way, I mean, as much as I respect it, I got to tell you, throughout the whole scene, it's like, okay, where's Mike? Where's Mike? It's like kind of like that Family Guy gag, and then there's Maud. Okay, I get it. We keep going through the thing. All right, where's Mike?
I mean, I gotta tell you, Dragon. Like, I hate to say it, but one of my nitpicks with Mike throughout this whole season has kind of been like the directing on him, like especially like I wasn't fond of his scene, and I know this is jumping ahead, but his scene in the scene that starts out episode 8, I was like, okay, here we go, more montage of Mike digging around in the desert. Like, I don't know, like we love Mike, Dragon. We love Mike, and
I guess we should talk about that now. Yes, of course, folks. So. Let's not curse the darkness. Let's light a bunch of candles here. So lighting a bunch of candles. We love Mike Ehrmantraut because not only do we love Mike Ehrmantraut, the character, the fixer, because who doesn't like a good fixer? We love Jonathan Banks, the actor, who of course plays Mike. So we like the track, because tracking is a big part of this season. How much we love Mike. So of course you'll notice as many hearts as there is, as many kind of hearts of the episode numbers.
Oh yes.
It's being 6. You're right.
Okay, so let's track it, Dragon. Let's track it. So yes. We love Mike right there this week, right about there.
Yeah, we've kind of shifted to the left a little, but it's kind of
shifted to the left. I don't know, Dragon. Like I said, like I love Mike. I'm not all that crazy about these like overly long, like artsy fartsy montages that kind of that Mike is sort of attached himself to. And
Well,
I kind of think that what you're pointing out about like the whole like, you know, the very deliberate pull back to, oh, it's Mike. Like that was another thing that it just kind of felt unnecessary.
yes.
Like sometimes it just like honestly, it just kind of feels like the show's showing off sometimes when it comes to the Mike stuff. I don't know.
To be fair, I'm going to throw this at you. What if that's because we have like, you know, kind of a new team on this one? Maybe that's like they're trying to like, okay, I'm going to introduce Mike as my first episode. And they want to.
But I mean, yeah, I can see that, but that doesn't take away from like I said, I do have the issue with episode
well, I'm just
8.
saying
I know we're
that
jumping ahead.
might be
but...
why. I'm saying that might be where it came from. That's all.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm saying your point's still there. I'm just saying I think that might be the origin of it, like how it came to be. I mean, I like the thing later on, but I mean, again, I think a lot of it's subjective. So again, it's kind of like, you know, whether it's I see your point in this case. Yes.
Okay.
Just again, I guess we'll get into that more down the line. But anyway, so point is, support group. The essence of the pancake thing is that Kaylee wants to know now. Kaylee wants to know more about Maddie. You know, with bringing up the daddy pancakes thing.
And now this is interesting how she, she wants to speak at class, you know, on career day. And Dragon, I gotta say, this is one of the things that's kind of bothering me about this Mike storyline. Like, it's not a huge nitpick or anything. It's just kind of like a logistical, like, okay, so she really, really wants someone to come in and talk about Matt as a police officer and his job and everything. Why don't you just ask Mike to do that?
Well, Tiki, I think what they're hitting upon here, I'm reading into this, bear in mind.
I mean, I'm just saying it's just kind of funny considering like the storyline for this episode with Mike is, you know, her signing him up for some volunteer work, but it's just like, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, the two things I want to hit with that is that one, with that kind of that ridiculously long build, is that when we finally get Mike in that shot, it's kind of like the whole as Mike's here. The idea is, I think, is that as Mike's here in that story, so we have like guilt. We see the guilt on Mike, you know, for all the Maddie stuff, because he always blames himself for Maddie's passing. Mm-hmm. And I imagine what that's also kind of connecting to with the point of like why she's not just going directly to Mike, is because I think she recognized that, okay, it's just one, Mike's, as we see in this episode, he's not the most sociable guy.
Of course.
And with that, it's like Mike's, again, want to be talking about for something very traumatic and very personal. Of course, talking about the police in general. Like he's a corrupt cop, which she knows. She knows this. So I'm just saying, I think she would like. I don't want. I would imagine that she wouldn't want to put Mike in the position of, hey, talk up to a bunch of kids about your dead son, like kind of the glorious position that you're really you corrupted and eventually got him killed. That's going to bring up a lot of happy memories for these children. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you know, it's yeah. The point is, like, I think she recognized it'd be kind of like it'd be a hard thing for Mike to do. So I think it's kind of with the storylines also kind of.
I can see that. Yeah, fair enough.
I think like she's slowly getting Mike to a point when I think this might be what the payoff of all this Mike stuff might be. By the way, I think the payoff is that we're going to get Mike to kind of get out of his shell a little bit by the end of the season about things. We might.
We'll see.
So yeah, she thanks Mike for coming by, and hopes that he'll come again. Again, this is like her trying to get him out of the shell. She reveals that she volunteered Mike to build a little play area.
I just love how taken aback Mike is by this.
Yeah,
he's just like, you volunteered me for what?
And here's the thing I love about Mike's here, and of course the way Jonathan Banks plays it, because again, you got to remember, a lot of Mike, of course, is just actually Jonathan Banks, where you get this sense of like Jonathan Banks, the guy's just, I get a sense of, much like Mike, he's just the kind of guy, like, he'll do a thankless job with, like, alone without anyone else kind of becoming involved. Like, I guess since Mike would build the whole thing by himself, and of course we hit upon this in the episode. But at the same time, like, he's not really down for this whole kind of public spectacle of, like, oh yeah, my father-in-law can build the playground thing. You can all help him out and stuff. Like, I don't think
Sure,
Mike wants
sure.
to. He doesn't want to be like a pillar of the community. He just wants to be kind of like it's like the Western thing. He wants to be kind of like the Shane, just Shane rolling into town, taking you into the job, not waiting for the thank you and leaving.
Dragon, might I just say that I am totally the type of guy who like I like to get my work done alone, and so like again, jumping forward to episode 7. I'm sorry we keep doing this, but I can absolutely like I have been in Mike's exact position in episode 7 with people like wanting to help me out and me being like, no, I think I've got it, thanks. Anyways.
Okay, let's see. So, moving forward. Let's see. So after, so Mike's been volunteered for it, and then there's a mention that, oh yeah, there's this really kind of heartbreaking bit with Mike here, where it's just like, Mike's asking, well, why me? Why'd you put me for it? I haven't really built a lot of playgroundy stuff. And then she recounts a story that Maddie, that Mike forgot about how. Right. We get this great. The only way I can describe it in my notes here, it's like this aw shucks performance from Jonathan Banks. It just gives us like aw shucks. Just how Maddie looked up to Mike, and it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, like, oh, it's so cute to see Jonathan Banks give this whole like, oh yeah, that was a nice moment of fun.
He's auditioning for the Genie Dragon.
Well, we know he has to go up against from Breaking Bad.
Oh God.
So then like him saying like, no, it's fine. He'll stick to it. Really sweet bit of him just kind of being reminded of like a really nice memory from him and his son when he was like really young, how he looked up to him, and now it's just he's committing to this kind of this community build sort of thing.
Yeah, good stuff.
Right.
Okay, let's get back into it with Howard Hamlin.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh God. Okay.
Hamlin, yes.
All right. It's been a minute. So
okay, love that. Love Howard Hamlin.
Howard is just so gleeful, man. It's just I love how he's so professional about like grounding himself before he enters Chuck's house. It's like it's like a reflex for him to put the phone and the watch in the mailbox at this point.
Yes. So, right. Howard's arriving. He's telling Chuck not to, he's not leaving until he answers the door because, again, Chuck's kind of
I don't want to wake up the neighbors, but I got all night, Chuck.
Oh, that Fabian.
And he's not saying that with malice at all. He's saying it in a very sort of like happy-go-lucky way. Like, come on, Chuck, you're drinking with me. Come on, buddy.
Exactly. Oh, Hamlin, that Fabian, you charming SOBs. He gets you every time. So, now, I got to tell you, Dave, just to kind of, this thing I found out recently after the most recent episode, but again, the way Fabian plays Hamlin's fascinating. He really is, because the way he's playing him very self-centered in the execution of this thing. But again, he the way he acts it is so subtle, like so many things to read into. It's like really it's like an audience, like it's like an expressionist painting the way he plays Howard Hamlin.
Oh yeah.
Yet he's playing it very directly. He knows exactly how he's playing Hamlin, yet at the same time it's just being interpreted in so many different ways by us, the audience. I think that's so interesting, the way he's playing Hamlin. Because again, Hamlin has a very business-like reason behind this whole thing.
Of course.
He's really doing this as Fabian spoke about the scene. I was just really he's doing all this to keep HHM flowing, to keep Chuck on point, not really being buddy-buddy with Chuck, but he'll act buddy-buddy this is like the closest thing to them actually being friends in the series, according to him.
Which is, that's just, there's such a sad, a sad truth to Howard and Chuck's relationship. Like, in a way, Chuck has been almost as neglectful towards Howard as he's been to Jimmy in some ways, because Chuck has just essentially like gone on this whole like whirlwind revenge tour, basically taking into consideration nothing in regards to how it would affect HHM. You know what I mean?
Because Chuck treats him like Ernie. To be honest with you, he treats him. He basically treats him like if Ernie had seniority. That's essentially how he treats him. Like it's Ernie with seniority, so I can't fire him.
Yeah. So and I don't know. It's like I'd really like to see some sort of flashback to Chuck and Howard kind of kicking ass and taking names like Nelson and Murdoch style back in the day. You know what I mean?
I found out something fascinating that we never have known about Howard Hamlin before, Tiki.
Okay.
Now, this is from Patrick Fabian. They said in the writers' room they've been talking about this. I don't know if I doubt it's going to be this season, but Hamlin's married.
Is he?
Yeah, Hamlin's married. He's got a wedding ring, and he's again. Hamlin has like a whole all these little plot lines with Hamlin. We've never really dealt with.
That's great. That's great.
I'm just saying it's cool. I didn't know about it because again, we never really kind of focused on. Oh yeah, he does have a wedding ring. I never noticed.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like how Kim could technically still be in Better Call Saul.
True.
Breaking Bad, I mean.
Yes, and I was rewatching the Bingo episode, and technically that story Jimmy's talking about might have been about one of his ex-wives, and we just missed it. It's like it's really subtle in there. You know, basically the Chicago sunroof was because a guy hadn't slept with his ex-girlfriend. He didn't use the words girlfriend, like a girl he was going with, so it might have been the wife.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So let's see. So to rare. Okay, so Howard comes by. He was allowed in after he makes it really pleasantly. Again, he's like Hammon's playing the charm factor. So he brings a very rare and expensive Scotch bottle, which in real life, by the way, you're gonna love this. So first of all, this Scotch bottle is like they couldn't get the actual thing because the real thing is this thing is super old and expensive. And they had to recreate the box just right, just for kind of get the brand's permission and stuff. Because like even creating the box, they can't buy like here's the thing, they can't buy an empty bottle. They had to recreate it, Tiki, because just buying like an empty bottle or buying an empty box, that's really costly. That's how valuable this thing is.
Oh my God, you're kidding me!
I'm not.
An empty bottle?
They can't get an empty bottle.
Their budget?
Well, because they're really hard to
crazy.
find. Because they're really hard to find. I'm not saying it's like it would have drained them completely. I'm just saying with all the other stuff in the season, they wouldn't have enough money to kind of go out.
Right.
It was only going to be in this one episode, It's like it's a 1966 Macon, if I'm saying that right. 1966 Macon, 35 years old. In the grand scheme, it's older than that because I'm saying in the 2002 context.
Right.
So, and by the way, this is the part you're going to love.
Oh God.
When they're filming this, when they're pouring and they're drinking, it's actually tea. So
no. Oh.
It is tea. It's tea.
Okay, I think we could just acknowledge how awesome that is and move on. That's amazing.
Yeah. So they are actually. Hamlin brought over this 35-year-old very rare tea. And he's talked it up. Okay, all right. So let's just say Hamlin's. Okay, so Hamlin's making sure. So essentially, with the reason for all this means, Hamlin's making sure Chuck doesn't spiral. Basically, he's like offering the move forward option. It's motivation to basically motivation so he doesn't Chuck doesn't fold. It's a very friendly. He's trying to steer Chuck on the mend after this trauma he suffered because this could set Chuck back. Which again, looking from the business side, which we should always keep that in mind with Hamlin. Again, that's the way Fabian's playing. He's playing very like he just wants to keep HHM spinning. He just wants to keep kind of a highfalutin life going. He wants to have his golf and his tea time.
Oh yeah.
That's what he wants. So he wants the. Essentially, he wants to get back to the early HHM days when he respected Chuck. I got a sense of it. That's where he wants. That's the reason he's really kind of focusing on Chuck here, because again, the other letter in the company name.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because like we've gone just in the course of the series, we've gone from Chuck being this, almost kind of like this deity of HHM to sort of the black sheep who's kind of drive them down into the hole. You know what I mean?
Yes, I mean he's which again stuff going that we're not going to really get into. Again, the HHM might be in big trouble in the aftermath of this thing.
Of course.
So again, he's being a friend strategically to ensure that Chuck doesn't do something regretful. Right.
Okay, so so they basically Howard just proposes to moving on, or to new beginnings. To new beginnings is what it is.
You also got to remember, if Chuck goes, that's $17 million out of the company. I just want to remind everyone that again, if Chuck ever cashed out, or if he did something he regrets, he just kind of got a HHM. If they lose a letter, that's $17 million out of the company.
Sure.
Possibly. Again, if he took his money with him, that's $17 million.
You can't just have HH. There's no ring in HH.
Yeah.
About branding this episode, Dragon.
Right. So let's see. So unfortunately, I just want to point out, just while my Hamlin theory did not come true, we did get kind of like a little wink and a nod to T. So while we didn't get like Hamlin buying a suit off the rack, we did get this.
I forgot about that.
No, I'm saying the off-brand thing was actually worked far better than my stupid idea. I just want to make it clear. At least we got something really, like a really great tongue-in-cheek Hamlin gag. I just want to point that out.
Right.
So let's see. Of course, Hamlin's just to kind of make Chuck feel better. Also, he's playing that. Look, if Jimmy screws up, just if Jimmy screws up, like we know is likely, then his 1 year goes to forever.
Mm-hmm.
Tells Chuck that he's at a crossroads, and if he keeps looking, he can either keep looking backwards or focus on his brother, or move forward.
Uses the analogy of some lawyer that you and I have never heard of, but
Clarence Darrow.
Clarence Darrow, yeah. What if he spent all his time looking after his ne'er-do-well relatives?
And again, Tiki, very, very strategically, Howard's playing to Chuck's high opinion of himself. He's saying, "Hey, you're like this great lawyer."
Yeah, right.
It's just like and basically all the time spending focusing on this vendetta. What if that's a waste of time that you could put into putting energy into your future?
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of your time and intelligence to focus on this thing. Then they toast the new beginnings by gaslight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
So he sees Howard now, and then
okay to drive, Howard. Too much tea for that Howard Hamlin.
Oh God. And then he pulls out the tape recorder dragon and gets a battery, and he holds right onto that battery, man.
And this battery thing was like, they had the digital. It's so amazing. This was done practically, but they got rid of the digital thing because it landed on cue. Well, here's the thing. They have like a little magnet at the bottom, so they can get they did it manually, so the thing stopped. But when it stopped, it rolls back a little. So digitally, they made it so the battery stops, sticks the landing at the very end. Really good little subtle effects there. Right. So the battery falls out, and then Chuck, what does he do?
Yeah, Chuck grabs for it, and it's in his hand. So we know that Chuck's kind of like testing the limits of his illness at this point.
Yes, again, it's kind of the symbolic kind of undoing of Chuck he's holding in his hand. You're the battery that's confounded him for so long, and made him look so foolish during the trial. Mm-hmm. Batteries. Like Pinkman's got magnets, Chuck has batteries.
Okay, so then we cut back to Jimmy feeding the fish, which I'm sure the vet very much approves of.
Yes. Oh, I love how the goldfish came back. I love they actually put it in a tank just like the vet told him. Yes.
Right, exactly.
He's nice to the fish. That's really nice. He's like eat up, buddy. It's like, oh, he's so nice.
Don't let the food get soggy, man. Come on, get it while it's fresh.
Yeah. And of course we have this great kind of head tank shot where like Saul's head is like in the tank, and like we get this. It's like fun, these creative shots we're getting where Saul is he's in a box right now, so he's like in the fish tank when we see the wide shot when he's like in his office through the tank. Mm-hmm. Creative shots. So then it's go time, Francesco, which we get a call montage to his clients. Basically, it's him informing the clients that he can't perform law for a year. And by the way, I want to point out I've had to deal with something kind of like this, where again I've worked I've had Francesca's job essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worn many hats, and essentially that was one of my jobs. And I didn't have to inform clients necessarily. I had to deal with the fallout from this, basically the aftermath of this.
Oh no!
Now, at times it got a little messy. At times, again, it's like these after like a list of like clients who basically were unable to not for business reasons, not for like personal reasons, just like they the trimmed down client list. So again, like the ones that have begged for it to be in or have to be rescheduled. Others. So I've dealt somewhat with this.
Okay.
My sympathies to Jimmy here.
I just have written in my notes, I love the Birdman style drums.
Right, so let's see. So the montage begins. You're right. We have some Birdman style drums, and we get the basically A to Z. He personally, this is a nice.
I have some of the greatest hit lines. If you want me to run you through.
Oh sure, let me set it up, and then by all means. So again, basically, essentially, what's going on in the scene in this montage that he's going A to Z down a list, which I love this. Such a classy move on Jimmy's part here, and it's what you do. And again, I've known how it kind of leads to the kind of the list being made, where you go through all the clients, you kind of mark off who you want, and whatnot. Basically. He personally informs the clients, and then the letter. I've dealt with the letter side. I know a letter had to be sent.
Okay, right.
For that part, the personal client things, that's something you usually try to avoid. But Jimmy, knowing the old folks, knowing like they're gonna, they'll receive him well regardless. So he wines and dines them in a good way. So he personally informs the clients and also keeps promising that the letter will be sent with all the details on what you do and all that sort of stuff. He's taking a forced year-long sabbatical. And as he explains it to the sweet old folks, and you go on.
All right, this isn't all of it, but just some of the greatest hits. Hello, dear. Do you have a moment? Yeah, I'm just taking a brief sabbatical from the law, but in 1 year I'll be back. That's right, just one trip around the sun. 1 year and I'll be back. I will. You give that nephew a hug for me, niece.
Well,
Yeah. It's just a technical thing. It's just an agreement.
I love that he says like, "Oh, I'm glad the will helped." Essentially, "Oh, I'm glad I helped."
Right. You're gonna get a letter with all the details. And then this is one of my favorites. He's just like they're having a communication breakdown. He's just like, "Okay, you stop talking and I'll talk." Oh God, I don't know where all those sounds are coming from, sir. You're gonna have to check. Well, then stay inside.
That was one of the best right there.
And then it's getting down to it, and he's just exhausted at this point. He's like,
well, there's that one client that has like knows the legalese better.
Right. Like, I don't want to go down into the weeds with you, sir. Yeah, I'm fine, sir. I'm just tired. I just have a headache. Where do you learn so much about lawyering?
Yeah, that was great. Again, he's so charming on the phone with these old folks.
And then the last one is Mr. Yellowitz.
Yes, that's the important one. So yeah,
I love that name, Yellowitz.
Yellowitz, yeah.
And he's just like running through the spiel as he gets on the phone, like, "Hello, Mr. Yellovich. I'm taking a hiatus of 1 year. Watch your mail for a letter from my office." And then kind of gets into a conversation. "Oh, you watch my commercial every day?" And he's like, "Wait, were you the pilot of the B-29?
That was cool. I love that idea that one of the actual pilots. That's why they love that commercial. That was really nice.
32 missions. And then I love this dragon. Like, Jimmy is saying this, I think, from the bottom of his heart. He's like, "Can I just say, sir, you are one of the people who made the greatest generation so damn great. Yeah. I salute you."
He always loves using that line. Really like a genuine sense of
Oh,
yeah. But by the way, just overall in the sequence, again, does what Better Call Saul does best. The way this was shot, just again, it's making the most boringly mundane kind of visually interesting.
Right. Like the Post-it notes are a great example.
Yeah, like we avoid the usual trappings, which Vince Gilligan's kind of spoken this. Here's the way you would have done this scene, just kind of just bare bones plotty. Is that okay? He says, "Well, Francesca, we got to call the clients," and then like times passed, like clocks, like the hands are spinning on the clock, and at the end, like crossed off the last name. We did all the clients. That's how they would have done it. That's like the lazy man's kind of easy. That's the way we've seen a bunch of times before. We've seen like kind of those things like, well, we got a lot to do today. Okay, we're done.
Exactly.
Thankfully, again, they made it like an arduous process. We're feeling what Jimmy's feeling, but right.
Well, like I said, they kind of like turned it into like a jazz. They turned it into like a jazz concert in a way.
Exactly, and making the mundane the most tense thing you've ever experienced, the most, or make it the most kind of visually interesting. Oh boy, clever. And so the Yallowitz call. So in addition to kind of like a nice little kind of, again, Jimmy's been going through, like, poor Jimmy has to like kind of let down all his clients like this, like, because again they love Jimmy. It's like it's constant work. It's like bread and butters for Jimmy. So he's like, and I get a sense that's what's been really wearing on through the day of like, well, yeah, I can't. It's like dawning on him, I can't be a lawyer. There's definitely a cost to this 12-year thing.
Sure.
And at the same time, after he's just kind of what did I say? 12 years?
Yes, you said 12 years. It's fine.
The show will be over if I say 12 years. Darn it! No, 12 months. Sorry.
12 years will get us to the Breaking Bad timeline, and then
we'd be See, then we had like a paradox where like Jimmy never existed in the Breaking Bad timeline.
Oh God.
Anyway, so the point is, like the Yallowitz thing is like kind of like this great little like kind of reward for Jimmy for all kind of like it's like a last kind of nice reminder of what Jimmy's done. It's like kind of like the big,
that's a good way to put it.
But at the same time, it also reminds him, oh crap, the commercial.
Oh man, I don't know the exact technicalities of this, but I'm sure like he probably could have gotten in a lot of trouble if that commercial aired. Like he was close.
The way I see it is that it would have been tricky. I don't think it would have killed him personally. I'm just judging from the would have he could easily explain it's an accident, it was like pre-done, but he still would have had to explain which he's on thin ice with the council as is.
Exactly, right.
Like he isn't at fault technically, but he still wouldn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy, right? So Jimmy quickly, he goes to Francesca. He told give me a KW.
I think it's KWE, but I don't think it matters.
KWBV. I think I'm going to go with that. KWBV calls the network, and tells him to stop the ad. Just so he's so frantic about it. Stop the ad! Stop the ad! So let's see. So Jimmy is he's contemplative. Jimmy's contemplating as he chats with Kim about their hard day. They both had kind of a hard day going
on. Kind of a classic Jimmy and Kim smoking scene right here.
Absolutely, and I love how we keep going back to that. And again, this kind of we're in a new location now, and we're making it all homey and stuff as it goes forward. So he mentioned they almost had let the ad slip by accident. Again, hence if they didn't call it might have been some trouble. And he points out that he has 9 airings left. So he has 9 airings left, which altogether is $4,000.
Yep.
That's when ads were cheap, folks.
I know, right?
That's when those 2002 ads were cheap.
God.
But yeah, so nine airings for $4,000, which just given the fact that he still needs to make up his half of things is really going to put a dent in whatever Jimmy's trying to do, and he can't get that money back. He can't just get a refund for it because it's already kind of bought and sold airtime. It's just they haven't. They didn't really flesh this out how time sensitive everything was. I mean, the first clients he goes to kind of suggest that, but we'll table that. We'll get there.
And Kim mentioned something that kind of breaks our heart, which is, how much notice should they give Francesca? And I'm just like, no.
But thankfully, Jimmy's sticking up for old Francesca. There is kind of attaching the mentality of, no, we're going to still use the office. I'm still going to pay for. I'm going to pay for my half of the office. Well, what, Jimmy? Why would you pay for your half? We're going to have to get rid of the office. Like, no, we're not getting rid of the office. I'll pay my half. You're not even. I don't need all that space just for Mesa Verde.
Mm-hmm.
So, like all that going on. It's really on. Again, we see that. Bear in mind, Jimmy, way before he and Kim get off, they got off in the relationship, is that he was willing to kind of like live and let live. Just he would have let the law firm go and everything. But again, he's investing in the dream with Kim. He's doing all of this for Kim still.
Sure.
It's really sweet.
Yeah, and it's just it's a very adult conversation. You know what I mean? One of my favorite lines in it is he's like, okay, you know what? The day I don't show up with my half, that's the day we talk about closing this place.
Yes.
And that it's just, again, Dragon, with like, this is like the anti-Walton Skyler. It's
totally in so many ways.
Like the mirror image, like Walt and Skyler are like Walt. It's appropriate that Walt has like the evil Spock goatee. You know what I mean?
Yes. And of course, those scenes. Well, at least until season 5, those scenes didn't have didn't have him smoking in that scene. Otherwise, it would have just kind of fed into Walt's problem even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, folks, lung cancer. So, Jimmy. So again, Jimmy swears to hold up his end in very aspirational thinking. It's called. He's right. Sorry, but closing up the place. So Kim's supportive either way. So again, Kim's supportive either way. Jimmy has a new goal outside of lawyering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He has to find kind of he's got a new goal, just kind of keeping this place up afloat. He doesn't quite know how yet, but he's got to figure out some way of kind of making this $4,000 problem go away and making it his end on a regular basis.
Oh boy.
So let's see.
And cut to sales pitch.
Yes, you're working on a sales pitch on a mom and pop kind of carpet business.
Look at you two. You belong on TV. It's just too good to be true. Good God.
And essentially, just since Jimmy's making these kind of these sales calls all day, essentially, I love seeing Jimmy the salesman. By the way, I think Jimmy the salesman's kind of like we got a taste of this way back in episode 1 with the Kelmans, like him selling clients on his business, essentially kind of like a door-to-door sales.
Of course. Dragon, I also want to point out something that I'm sure you've probably thought about this, but do you remember the first scene of Better Call Saul, which is like after Gene leaves the Cinnamon, what does he go home and do?
Let's see. Yeah, he leaves the cinema and goes while he's watching. Well, I know he eventually watches. He's watching TV.
He's watching his old commercials.
Oh right. Oh, well, yeah, yes. I thought you meant something about the carpet business was somehow involved there, but yeah, you're right though. Yes.
No, I'm just saying. I think it's really cool that we're kind of connecting the dots to that a little bit. We're seeing how advertising and commercials is becoming a big part of Jimmy McGill's life, to the point where when he's Gene, that's going to be like the big part of his life.
What?
Like the Saul Goodman era of his life that he's going to look back fondly on.
Sorry, to you coming off words, I was going to say that for the ending, but yes, you're absolutely right though. But also something important to kind of hit upon with that is that let's just say the VHS tape with the commercials not only is important and might have been started in this episode very directly.
Yes.
There is also in some future episodes we have more stuff that connects to that first Gene scene.
Okay, cool.
So just something to bear in mind. So again, we're really tying things together in this season with kind of the Gene stuff, which suggests maybe next season we're going to have more direct Gene stuff. Who knows?
I still think it's a possibility that episode 10 will get a Gene cold open again.
Oh yeah, right. Yes, yeah, we were pitching that. Sorry, folks, it's been a while. Yes.
I think that's still on the table.
Yeah, because again, we did end Gene on the cliffhanger, which is kind of like that'd be kind of like a weird kind of cliffhanger to go off the season with. If we didn't just like acknowledge that son, because I mean, again, is he dead? Is he stressed out? What's going on?
Right.
Does he have cancer now? Was the mustache equal cancer? Should we put out like an ad campaign or something? What?
Oh God. Anyways.
Mustache equals cancer. That's a horrifying message. I don't want to deliver that message. Anyway, maybe Ben McKenzie has the right idea.
I know, right? I was about to say James Gordon would be so sad.
Like, well, technically, no.
Especially J.K. Simmons, James Gordon, because that dude's like rocking the mustache.
Yes.
Anyways.
But anyway, back on point here. Yes. So the point is, we had Jimmy back to the kind of the sales pitch days and the main sales pitch he's been throwing around to people. I get a sense of, especially in this scene, is that he's really he's selling a series of ads, of him advertising a local business, and the free airtime is his hook. The hook is like, hey, airtime, you don't have to worry, because again, he has all the airtime. He's trying to get rid of this thing that's a bad habit.
I definitely think that's the hook. Yeah, right.
Which he's very clever. I love Jimmy the salesman. It's so clever. And let's take a moment so we don't lose track of this. So we don't just save it for the end. Let's address it here. Let's remember, this episode is a really good. We're kind of starting from like a new point of like opening the season almost. We're starting at like, okay, now we're changing the status quo in a big way with this episode. So he's no longer a lawyer, which opens up a lot of possibilities, especially in the writers' room. And they're thinking, okay, wait a minute. So if Jimmy's not a lawyer for a stretch, we can have him do a bunch of odd jobs, or we can have him like, what's he going to do next? What's Jimmy McGill suited for?
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, gets us to a whole like plethora of fun possibilities.
Oh man!
And we're tying things together very well with that. So I just wanted to acknowledge it's kind of a neat idea going the season. That again, if someone told Tinker this in the beginning, it's like, wow, that's not being a lawyer for Jimmy. That's coming a little out there.
Sure.
So, all right. So the free airtime is his hook. Basically, he's like low cost, fast, free airtime. Again, because it's already secured, and he's stuck with it.
You'd have a viewership of tens of thousands of potential customers.
Yep, and the pop from the mom and pop store recognizes the Gimme Jimmy ads. Hey, Gimme Jimmy! They remember
Jimmy. I love it. It's almost kind of like a Drax reaction. You know what I mean? Like he's just sitting there. Gimme Jimmy!
Yeah. Gimme Jimmy. So then essentially the line, this is the great line in the promo, by the way, from selling this episode, is that, let me do for you what I did for me.
Oh, God. And then I love how he's got this all worked out, Dragon. I love how he's got like these cutesy little names for it. Like they, like the mom and pop bring up that it's a lot of money. And Jimmy's like, you're right. It's a big financial commitment. And Dragon, of course, this episode's all about branding. And I love this branding, the toe in the water pack.
Oh God! Now let's not forget. Okay, let's acknowledge this. This is a big Saul Goodman little hint we got here because, of course, in Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman he loves to just name all of his like exclusive loitering.
Of course,
packages.
right.
He always like the print, like the gold and the platinum package, like all sorts of like ridiculous kind of on the spot names.
And it's great. It's great because like even before Saul Goodman rears his ugly head at the end of the episode, we're getting into that kind of like Jimmy is very much slipping into that Saul Goodman frame of mind, slip very much intended.
Very much so. And what I love here is that again, I love being armed with the information of how much Jimmy needs. That he's in the hole with without the broad thing of like just making expenses. That he's asking for right now. He still has 9 commercials.
Mm-hmm.
9, and he's trying to pitch them like the packages include. He wants to sell all the commercials as soon as possible, and for $4,900, which of course is over what he needs, but still just anything extra is going to help him down the line. The point is, he's trying to cover the commercials all in one shot with selling all the ads and everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do it and make it a one-time thing before he realizes, well, I'm going to have to not make it a one-time thing. I got to make it like a business thing. And of course, for the 320 spots it's definitely KWBV. That's what it is. The KWBV spot, which apparently is kind of I want to say the fictional kind of channel that runs all the Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
So it's a good deal, but it's a lot of money. And then you're right. Then we go from the premium package to the toe in the water. Yes, that's
Mm-hmm.
right.
$8.99.95, one commercial, flat rate.
Yeah, $8.50. Well, I'm saying $8.49.95. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
One ad for that much, which is still still costly, but I'm saying breaking it down, I mean, it'll help. So,
and then the mom and pop say the words that every salesman hates, I'm sure, which is we'll think about it,
especially car salesmen.
Right.
We'll think about it. And then, of course, Jimmy. And this is where Jimmy's again. This is the kind of thing they relish in the writers' room. But ever since the first episode, they love describing in their scripts, like when Jimmy did his opening kind of to be 19 again speech.
Oh God, right.
They literally the way they really get into it and they write the scripts and when they describe things where they wrote at least Gilligan and Gould do where Gould's going like Jimmy owns the effing room and he has him by the balls and then essentially it's like then of course the rug's pulled out from under Jimmy. So basically he says like Jimmy is like
rugs because they're in a rug store.
Yes. So it's like Jimmy, he's owning the room, and it looks like Jimmy's doing pretty good for himself. He's working the charms, working the salesman, and then of course he just loses the sale completely here. Where he asks like, how Jimmy needs a yes or no immediately. Well, we're thinking like next week to give you an answer on that. I says, I need to be filming in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously is a no-go, really last minute, then for a commitment of $850 essentially. Right. So yeah, absolutely, it's a no-go. And then Jimmy and the film crew are sitting waiting in the car outside. This to me,
they're waiting outside. Yeah. They're just kind of like talking about like school gossip and whatnot.
So a couple things to hit upon here. One, so again, the film crew is great, and then with the film crew there, it's just this. There is this great inspiring image of just like that boom mic sticking out of Jimmy's car. So it's like that just shows you where Jimmy's at right now. It's like desperate on the move filmmaker. That's what he's doing. It's such a great symbol for where Jimmy is right now. It's a great visual reminder. It was a complete accident, by the way, that boom mic sticking out of that thing. It's like they had to literally get in the car somehow. And that was how they got in there. Mm-hmm. And I have a fun, brief mini story.
Oh God, okay.
I told you about this before. I'm going to share it on air because again, we're waiting to do this episode. So, I actually, as you know, we like to kind of make our little phone calls, and I called the number on the outside of the building. There's a massage parlor on the outside.
Okay. You've told me this story. Go ahead.
You'll notice, and the folks at home, if you want to try this, you want to be bold enough to try this. By all means, basically, the film crew. While Jimmy goes back to feed it to the film crew.
To be fair, I just want to acknowledge that I do not recommend people try this. I just want to put that out there. I don't want to bother these poor people.
Well, sure, it's at your own peril. As long as you, look, folks, if you're gonna do it, I recommend you do it with actual plans of taking part of the business.
Fair enough.
Don't just call it to be the fanboy ad. I'm saying if you're gonna call it, by all means, call with actual. You want to partake in the business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. be a long drive, I imagine. But, still, show some support. ABQ support. So the point is, so the film crew's outside, and Jimmy's come back all dejected and like, well, they didn't go for it. And there's the massage parlor sign with says like $40 feet body massage versus feet massage, whatever massage. And there's a phone number, and of course, thinking with all the other corresponding numbers, they usually. Usually they bear fruit. Usually, again, they're kind of like a set-up thing. I had the 505, like all the other numbers of 505, so I dialed it to kind of see if maybe we could use that. And this isn't the promo, by the way. This is the promo. So I didn't it was even earlier, and it's again, we might get a little scoop on things here. It's like a little Easter. So I'm calling the number, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a pre-recorded. The nail salon had one of these. The nail salon worked wonders. I was thinking it's going to be the exact same thing. And again, judging from the promo before seeing the episode, okay, maybe they actually go in the massage parlor. I don't know. Maybe that's where they're trying to sell these commercials often. And I get actual receptionist, and at first I hear hello. I'm thinking, they then hung up because I didn't say anything because I wasn't. It was I was expecting to record a message, and I was thinking, what the. Okay, is that it? Is that kind of Nacho's thing of just saying, Nacho, leave it? Is that it? And I call again. It's let me double check this. And I call, and then it's hello? It's actually the receptionist. The receptionist is responding, and I'm saying, I'm just being putting my cards on the table saying, is this Albuquerque? And she's it was is this I'm sorry, is this Albuquerque, New Mexico? And she's saying, yes. I says, I'm sorry, I'm just calling. I didn't explain the whole thing. I just kind of this is is this the massage parlor? And she's saying yes. And I'm saying, I apologize. I'm sorry for taking up your time. What? Apologize. I'm sorry about that. I'll let you go now. Thanks for your time. That sort of thing. So I'm like, it's just a ridiculous little nexus of the universe story. I tell you, just it's like, oh my god, they know how to advertise businesses. I'll give you that in the show.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, folks, Albuquerque massage parlor, just indiscriminate massage parlor in Albuquerque. I'll recommend it. ABQ all the way. Anyway, so let's see. Jimmy and the Film Crews, after that tangent, but it was relevant somewhat. Let's see. So then we have the boom shower. So no ad, and it's 220. Basically, it looks like if he doesn't start filming something, he's going to lose $400. He's going to lose he's going to lose a commercial. Mm-hmm. So then the makeup girl, who's also they keep going from makeup to drama girl because she's a treasurer of the drama club. So I don't know. I think I go with makeup girl. Points the makeup girl. She has an idea. Maybe Jimmy could make it. Maybe he can make it himself. Make the first commercial. He's going to lose that anyway. He might as well make a commercial.
Which I love this line of thinking, even though it's it's like she's a little naive because she doesn't really exactly get the financial situation here, but it leads to something so great. You know what I mean? It leads to Jimmy like he's like, wait a minute, you're right. I'll turn lemons into lemonade.
Exactly.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, he just has that reaction of, oh, right, because as he's about to maybe rail into her, right. Then we get that great exit shot again with the boom sticking out of the car. Now we're at a satellite farm. Mm-hmm. We're at a satellite farm, to shoot the ad on the fly, and it's on the fly, which essentially means Jimmy has roughly, roughly an hour. It's actually roughly an hour to. How much time I got him to get to the satellite farm, I don't know. But roughly an hour to shoot a commercial and get it edited and all that stuff ready for airtime.
I must say, man, they pulled it off. They pulled it off, man.
They did. It's very impressive. So he's waiting on doing the ad on the fly. Or having trouble.
He's kind of like trying to come up with a spiel. He's like, McGill's the name, advertising's the. He's like he's struggling. He's struggling.
Now, I like that he voices this to the makeup girl. He essentially is telling her that, he's used to selling himself. I'm sorry, Dave, do you want to go through it?
Well, yeah, first of all, I love how the makeup girl's, he's like, I can't do this. And the makeup girl's like, yes, you can. Like, the makeup girl's so supportive, Dragon. She's such a sweetheart.
I think she's becoming as much as I loved Kid Kubrick, I think I'm liking the makeup girl a lot more now.
I am too.
I think she's my new favorite.
But she's just so supportive, and and Jimmy's just like, we're totally off brand here. I'm Jimmy McGill, a lawyer that you can trust. I can't suddenly turn into I love how he phrases this. Commercial guy.
There's the proto name.
Right.
Yes. So in that moment, again, what his problem's boiling down to is that, again, he's used to selling Jimmy McGill. He's not used to being, as the user said, commercial guy. He's not used to being commercial guy. He doesn't know kind of what to sell this under. He doesn't know what to put this under. How to, he's not used to being flamboyant.
Mm.
So then he gets an idea. So he gets, again, Makeup Girl's like on fire this episode with the good ideas.
She is, yeah.
She's like kind of like, oh, she's like his muse, Tiki. She's like his muse. She's like giving inspiration.
I can see that.
Let's see. So Muse gives him an idea, and then she fills him with confidence, and then trouble going from lawyer to lawyer you can trust. I'm sorry, I have it right here.
Jimmy basically gives her a line to say.
Yes, he gets kind of like a zinger line to him.
Yeah, for a limited time only, we'll shoot your commercial today and have it on air tomorrow.
And he goes around there. Everyone has them all kind of try out saying, and importantly,
Kubrick doesn't even try.
Well, importantly, and the thing is, he says, "Say the words,"
Oh,
which is in the official. The reason we use that in our intro and outro, folks, is we work it in there, is because "Say the words" is in the actual Saul Goodman commercials.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's the origin of "Say the words" is here.
All right,
this is the origin of it.
So I like the little knock on the Makeup Girl, like, aren't you president of the drama club? Treasurer.
The boom guy gives it a shot.
He gives it a shot.
Jimmy tells him maybe next time, which I hope there is a next time. Oh my God! No, that's not. I was sorry. For a moment, I thought, oh my God, what if the boom guy's the guy in the commercial? What if he's the whole like, oh no, I need legal representation? What if he's the guy? What if he's maybe he's our pro? He could be our proto guy for that.
That'd be wonderful if they tied that all together.
Oh yeah.
Right now, I'm still just riding high on the whole Price is eventually going to purchase the laser tag place.
Hey, I'm rooting for that. By the way, I'm rooting for that and your ending. I'm rooting for your ending to the series. I really want your ending to happen.
Is my ending to the series the Kim ending?
Oh yeah, it's the that one.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, yeah, that's the end of it. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's see, what was that?
The Leftovers just did a series finale that was very, very similar to what I pitched for that. Anyways.
Huh. Anyway, so yeah, Boom Guy gives it a shot, and he just looks at Kid Kubrick, who just giving this look of like, really?
Really?
He just never mind. Just yikes. He says woof. Just no. So then he grabs the makeup bag, and then I says, "Oh, I'm gonna have to carl off this thing." And the minute he said that, I was like, "I cannot wait to see what this is gonna look like." We're gonna carl off this. He's gonna go wild with the makeup and do something.
Oh man.
Okay, then we have. So we go from the satellite farm to another memorable location in Breaking Bad.
The chicken farm.
Yes, finally.
Right.
We've been waiting for this. We had like all the fake out with that kind of that train looking place.
Yes, we did.
Now we're at the actual chicken farm. Finally. Yeah.
Oh man, so much chicken wire, Dragon. So much chicken wire in season 2.
So we actually see how Fring's been doing it. So we actually see at this juncture, like how the shipments are coming in.
Mm-hmm. You want to explain it because it's a little complicated for my blood.
All right. Simply put, it seems the drugs are buried into the. Basically, it's really clever here. They remove panels from the bottom of the truck, and inside those panels, they fill with sand, so there's no weight displacement. So basically, the sand compensates for the weight, so no one would check it. So like nothing feels off here.
Okay.
And even if they dug into the sand, they have to dig really, really deep to find the drugs. So that's the idea. So the sand, it's like displaces the weight and avoids detection. So they do the classic thing that we saw. Just they upgrade it to inside the product.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I get a sense that when Fring really outsourced, most likely through
Lydia.
Yes, through Lydia. That's when he kind of like put it like he can ship it from other locations inside the actual materials. That's my
gotcha.
They're magical. Magical does that. That's my guess on that. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So they hose off the sand, and then it's like, yay, drugs, yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly how they say it. Yay, drugs.
So then we have, this Tyrus and Victor are sitting around just playing cards.
Drugs.
Hey,
I mean,
Tyrus,
granted,
look,
that's pretty much my reaction when I buy a bag of weed, right? I'm like,
okay, come
yay,
on,
drugs.
let's not go that. Let's not abdicate anything. We're just
Right, all right.
the point is Tyrus and Victor are in the scene here, and there's like again they're basically doing what Pinkman and Mike have been doing down the line.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they have essentially what is it like a half a gram a block, I believe is what they say. So each block of this is like half a gram.
No, 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 no.
No,
Each block is
quarter of a gram,
an ounce.
an ounce. You sure it's an ounce?
I'm sure it's an ounce.
I could have sworn they said gram, but I'll go
Tyrus says that each that it's all like they're all even by half a gram.
There you go, gram.
Yeah, and oh my god.
You said ounce. I'm saying gram.
Do I really have to sit down and explain drug terminology right now?
All right.
Is this a conversation we really need to have?
Okay, let's not. All right. We'll move on from it. The point is a brick of drug.
All I'm saying is that what you're getting out of like the half a gram, Dragon, half a gram is a very, very small amount. Like a gram is a very, very small amount.
All right, so the point is a brick of product.
I'm pretty sure it's an ounce, but
a block of product.
It's
all right,
either an ounce or a pound. But anyways,
a neatly wrapped block of product. All right,
I will agree with you that it is neatly wrapped. Yes.
Okay. Then we have this gag, of course, like Tyrus saying, you're not worrying about the scale, not weighing it, because he knows how much is in there. Of course, down the line, Tyrus is going to be all scaly. He's going to be all let's scale the heck out. He scales it twice. It's Tyrus's thing.
Exactly. Right.
Which, by the way, the Gus Fring videos, they did kind of like they had him like kind of using the scale on products and like the chicken materials and stuff.
God, Gus Fring is just like, I am going to hide in plain sight. I'm just going to like allude to my drug business in my trading videos.
Oh, Tiki, are you caught up on the Fring videos? Have you watched them all?
No, I'm not.
Oh, Tiki, so they tie into the episodes a little because thematically they tie in.
I'm sure they do.
Anyway, let's see. So, point is no scale gag, and then Nacho's there. Importantly, Nacho's at the chicken farm. He's collecting bricks, blocks of product. 5. Importantly, he's there to get 5, but then he gets an extra.
Oh yeah. He goes for 6. Don Hector gets 6.
And then we have this great bit where he just kind of snatches it, and then the guns are drawn, like Tyrus like goes in like for the pounce, and he misses, and then as Nacho's kind of snatch the extra product, then Victor has the gun drawn on him.
Mm-hmm. Victor having the gun drawn, and Tyrus, slowly pulling out his phone to call Gus. Both very familiar Breaking Bad things.
Absolutely. Frank Henchman 101.
Yep.
So Nacho, makes it clear, he was told to get 6. Don Hector gets 6, as you said. There's a little standoff. Then they call Gus.
Mm-hmm. Oh God. And this is like one of the few times we actually see Gus in the episode, and he's just so intimidating. He's just lit, lit like a Bond villain. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And he's just like, let him have it.
So then Nacho walks away unshot.
Oh yeah.
Gus with a pen light, with the pen light, little like the miniature version of the flashlight, like little pen light surveying the laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, surveying the laundromat, and he's kind of conceiving of a location for a future super lab behind a giant washing machine.
Oh yeah.
Or dryer, giant machine of some kind.
And then we get the Lydia reveal. Which,
yes.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm not the biggest Lydia fan. I don't think she was like the best player in season 5.
I'm just saying it was cool that they never had a scene together. And it's like, oh my god, Lydia and Gus, and it's like buying the laundromat. That's really cool.
No, you're right. It does tie in very well. All I'm saying is I'm not like a huge Lydia fan, so I'm hoping Lydia doesn't become like a big fixture of the series or anything like that, which I don't think she will. I think this was just kind of some fan service and connecting the dots, but I don't know.
Well, I know one thing. I can confirm one thing is that this was just a cameo for this season. She's not coming back anymore this season because they flew her in especially just for like a scene. So if they want in the future, it's unclear. But regardless, this is one thing to take away from this Lydia performance if they did bring her back. Like, yeah, I think that honestly, the only time I want Lydia back, personally, I think the only time we need her back in would be to set up Madrigal. That'd be the only reason we really would need her.
You're right. You're right. We could do that. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that she, like, in the same way that Francesca has kind of become like a really solid supporting character on the show. I wouldn't want to see that same thing done.
Certainly, sir. I'm just saying, if we ever need like kind of Fring to kind of upgrade in the business, that's when we would need like Leia come like kind of like once in like maybe once a season, maybe.
I could see that. Yeah.
Anyway, so and the last takeaway, ladies, of course, she's more eager and confident because she's not wearing like the giant Jackie O shades and everything. She's not like because remember, like she was all that. Right. She was that way after Fring was gone. After kind of the big kind of head honcho was gone, she was all kind of trying to duck her head in the sand, so to speak.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. So then we have take us to the Mylar Rocky scene.
Yes, I call it Chuck's treacherous track. Stylistically, I just have written down like a bunch of things that it reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of Darren Aronofsky, like Requiem for a Dream. Mm-hmm. Kind of has a Blade Runner look, just with the neon, if anything else, and definitely also Nicholas Winding Refn, who did Drive. It's got that same sort of like neon day glow vibe to it.
Wasn't Cranston that?
Yes, Cranston was in that. He played the villain in that. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we're seeing like I said, just very cool stylistic like depiction of the neon. And Dragon, I get a sense that like even though it's meant to be, of course, like we're still in that perspective of it is painful for Chuck. I think the way it's shot is that the neon is starting to become a little less intimidating. It's starting to become like, we can kind of see the beauty in the neon, you know what I mean? Kind of like the prettiness and the lights.
I think you're absolutely right. And of course, the thing to remember is that everyone's kind of they really try to spice up the EHS, the electro hypersensitivity. They're really trying electromagnetic hypersensitivity by making it different every time you see it. And I think you're right. It is like less threatening and more kind of slightly beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the idea. It's like the colors kind of reflecting on the Mylar, so to speak. It's kind of the look they're playing with.
So then Chuck does the unthinkable back in season 1. Chuck actually makes a phone call, Dragon. And he calls, and, he's even very patient with the person over the phone. He's like, yes, I'll hold. I'm a client, former client. It's like he's very nervous, but he's holding his own in the conversation, and he just wants to, to get help. And Dragon, I'm gonna say it. Let's kind of throw away all the fuck Chuck stuff. I feel bad for Chuck in this moment. And I also feel proud of Chuck for like wanting to move forward with his life. All right, this is the start of Chuck's redemption.
Aha.
All right.
So he's calling Dr. Cruz, which just of course the callback there being Dr. Cruz is the doctor who she's the one who pointed out in the first place to Jimmy that hey, it's seemingly it's all in his head.
Sure.
At least it can be treated. Going again, it's links to his head. That was the big revelation that Cruz, and she's always shown up when Chuck's been horribly battered in the hospital.
Oh God, right.
Right, he's trying to set up an appointment, so we're going to see where that pays off down the line. So, meanwhile, Nacho.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I almost said Tuco. Tuco's going to factor in. Tio is very much just grilling Nacho on how it went down. Did he piss himself?
No, Fring wasn't there, which, is... Arturo takes a call in the meantime while he's getting the status reports. He tells...
Oh, God.
Importantly, Arturo is taking the call and he's on the outside, which is going to, of course, kind of set up a big thing this season.
Of course.
Hector, meanwhile, he's telling Nacho. Essentially, this is also setting up. It's kind of like it's kind of a combination mixture that's going on in the scene. Just kind of so Arturo's kind of are the big punch, kind of our big Hector side of it. And of course, Nacho's our big Nacho side of it here. So Hector's telling Nacho that he wants a new way of getting the stuff over the border.
A new distributor, yeah.
It's a new distribution method. Because. And then Nacho brings up the Chicken Man. No, not Al from Al's Toy Barn, the other Chicken Man.
God. Could you imagine Giancarlo Esposito voicing Al?
That would be... Oh my God. Tiki, I would I
Come to
die.
Alice Toy Barn.
I would, of course, this never happened in Toy Story. But imagine this, even if it's just not
Even if it's just like a college humor video or something like that, just like
I would just love a scene between Giancarlo Esposito and Tom Hanks, but as Al and Woody just having an intense conversation. Of course, here's the thing: you never have toy talking to human.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I know. I'm just saying, if you had Giancarlo Esposito as Al, I'm just saying, if you had that, and that's the thing college humor could do, is like having a scene where of course, toys never interacted with the adults. Sid was the only case ever.
So play nice.
Yeah, but seriously, just in general, though, a scene between Giancarlo Esposito and Tom Hanks would be kind of awesome, period.
Okay. We're getting off track here.
Point is, Chicken Man, and then Hector's response is temporary. It's temporary. He's proving a point with Fring. He knows if Fring really wanted to complain up the chain, he probably could. So he knows it's not going to last. He doesn't want to just live off the Chicken Man. It's a pride thing. So he needs a legitimate business now that Regatta Halado is off the table. He needs a legit business. Mm-hmm. Now that eyes are on Regatta Halado, he wants Mr. Vargas upholstery business.
Oh boy! And of course,
just to boil it down, because they kind of go back and forth. He asks about how his father gets the upholstery, and points it's like the perfect method distribution for him.
And that is just not going to sit well with Nacho at all, and that's like all the motivation Nacho needs.
And Mandow's great in this scene.
Yeah, at that moment, I think that's kind of like where we really truly transition to like caring about Nacho almost as a protagonist in the show. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Nacho's always been interesting. Now we're finally giving him time, giving him his due here. And of course, this is Nacho's absolute worst nightmare. Because again, we hinted at this nightmare when Mike interacted with his father because he's afraid Mike was going to make him suffer. As of course, Mike doesn't have a family. So again, it's and now interestingly, I've always laid this out here, so I won't spend too much time understanding it. It's kind of like I've always kind of looked at Mike's kind of proteges. Looked at I always had the Godfather comparison for Mike, where you have the three sons. Four if you want to be real technical. You have Pinkman, you got Nacho, you got Price.
Price, yes. Oh God.
Yes. And if you want to be technical, if you want to work in
Price the Robert Redford.
Robert Redford.
Oh, Robert Duvall. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, that's what I was about to say. If you want to count Duvall, because remember, he was the adopted son. If you want to count him,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Victor is going to be Duvall. If I'm saying if you want to extend, because
he was Dragon. That was embarrassing. Of course, Robert Redford was the Godfather. What am I thinking?
Anyway, you see what I'm saying? Though, again, Price is Fredo. Duval would be Victor because he wasn't kind of under Mike's wing. He just kind of fell into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were paired up. Of course, Pinkman's the Michael Corleone because he developed the most, Nacho's Sonny because he's tailor made for it, but he's still he's a little out for himself. So he's
sure.
I've always just kind of laid out the God. The point is the failed kind of the sons ever since Michael lost his son, he's had kind of people filling in for his son. So that's kind of where the Godfather. I'm serious. There's a little bit of merit to that, right? There's a little bit of.
I can see that.
I'm saying
I can also see just the mirror of the Salamanca clan and the pulling people back into the game and everything like that.
Certainly. And anyways, my point of bringing all that up is that much like Mike, of course, there's always a mentorship between Mike and Nacho because Nacho wants to be like Mike, and Nacho's end goal be graduating from Mike to Gus. He would love to be Gus, but Mike is kind of who he can be right now.
Of course.
Again, kind of like how Pinkman would turn into Mike. That's kind of the idea. So, like Mike, he wants to keep his family safe and out of this, which is absolutely what Nacho's prime directive is right now. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So he.
So then we get the bad news about Tuco.
Yes, which is.
That he knifed a guy and broke a guard's jaw. All he had to do was 6 months. He'll be in there forever.
He quite literally flips out. He's flipping tables and everything. Just he's losing his crap. He's just really pissed off. And it's like, hey, we could have had Raymond Cruz in the episode, but now he screwed up, so now he's gonna be in prison. Darn it.
Right.
Grab Tuco, you screwed up your guest spot.
Tuco, our ratings are going to plummet because you cannot appear this season.
Darn you and your guest appearances, Raymond Cruz.
Actually, Dragon, I just want to mention just very, very quickly, this season has been almost double the viewership of season 2.
I would imagine a lot of that has to do with just the buzz of Giancarlo Esposito.
I mean, sure, yes, it is.
Oh, no, it deserves it. It deserves it even without Esposito just being on name alone.
I mean, I just want to give props where props is due, man. Like, this show is really hitting its stride in season 3.
Absolutely, season 3's been kind of generous to a lot of shows we've been getting into.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. So the point is, so Hector's losing his crap, and of course, now this is something we didn't know about Hector. He's starting to have some heart palpitations.
Oh boy!
And he goes for his pills, essentially nitroglycerin pills. It's something that can calm you down when you're really getting all out of whack in the heart. So Nacho, taking this really well directed, like a little clue that we know is going to come back. So Nacho takes note of this, and he hides one of the pills under his shoe.
This is like a classic Vince Gilligan move. Like, you know it's going to come back, but you don't know how.
Yep. Also, it's real funny that when this happened, of course, our timelines are really out of whack, but we saw this with Jim Gordon, too. He hid like something under his shoe.
Oh, God. Really? Oh, no. Okay.
I'm just saying, I think we've covered, I'm pretty sure we covered that one first, though. But regardless, the point is just, however this is seen.
In like 4 weeks, man. I really need to catch up. Anyways.
Okay, the point is, hides one of them under his shoe, and really good direction there. And let's see, anything. Yeah, it's gonna. Anyway, that's it. Moving on.
All right. So Jimmy's on the phone, kind of talking to a client, saying that they'll want the whole package after they see the first one. He's really buzzed about it. Yeah, it'll be on air by tomorrow afternoon. I know, it's amazing. Dragon.
He mentions no stripes, which makes me think of the commercial again with the whole, oh no, I need legal representation.
Dragon, I've also got to say, no stripes. I vividly remember doing a podcast and wearing a shirt with stripes, and the whole time I was like super distracted. I was like, oh God, it looks so bad. It looks so bad on camera. So yeah, folks, definitely take Jimmy's advice. Don't wear stripes on camera. That's some good advice. And Kim comes in and she's so supportive, man. She just goes for a beer right away. I love that Kim Love that Kim.
Absolutely. Tells Kim of the door-to-door adventure he's been kind of embarking on lately. Kind of like check in. How's your week been going, Jimmy? Terribly, but here's what I've been doing. Mm-hmm. Going door to door, selling the ads, and of course he gets the Wexler approval, Wexler stamp of approval, if you will.
Yeah, I think Kim really likes the conceit of like throwing in the airtime for free. I think she thinks that's really clever.
But importantly, she doesn't give him. Well, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Oh boy, we'll get to it. Let's see. So, So she learns that he ran an ad, and he's like, "Well, it can't be about lawyering. What ad you run?" He mentions that he made a commercial for commercials in a day.
Yes.
In a day, which again, not even in a day, within an hour, which is impressive.
Right.
And he plays the VHS of it, which of course, and this directly kind of harkens back to the opening with Gene, where of course he has a VHS tape of commercials on it, which we know Saul Goodman is on that, but we don't know we don't know how much is on that tape. So it could be a different tape, but still, the point is tapes, and it's harkening back to the beginning there. So it pops the tape in very, very embarrassed and sheepishly, which is really the first for Jimmy.
It's not my best work.
Yep, he's very.
Oh God.
He's really just kind of trying to forewarn her almost.
All right, and once again, Dragon, I have the greatest hits of the commercial.
Well, okay. Well, so this commercial is a huge moment. We got to worry how we're going to play.
It really is.
So Jimmy is dressed in, as the commercial plays, Jimmy is dressed in disguise. Again, going full Karloff here. He's dressed in disguise as an over-the-top version of Hair Director.
Hair Director?
It's the old adage, like kind of the Nazi director, Hair Director. The guy with the giant. Remember Animaniacs with Mr. Director? Remember any of that?
Honestly, I just got that he was going for like kind of a Michael Bay look. That's what I got out of it. Since
it's a classic kind of over-the-top director. That's what Hair Director, and Vince Gilligan loves using the Hair Director.
The Nazi thing is kind of what threw me off. I was like,
no, I'm just saying that's where the hair comes from. It's like kind of the very kind of dictatorial director. I'm saying that's where they get.
Okay.
Point is, director with the big megaphone, the big the fancy hat and the monocle and the viewfinder thing. It's like the guy Anyway.
Like I said, to me, he just looks very Michael Bay-ish.
Right.
He's got like the blonde goatee and the sunglasses and the vest.
Basically, it's like Michael. I'm going to try a better comparison. Just imagine Michael Bay if he thought he was Spielberg.
There we go. Yeah, that's
right?
perfect. That's
perfect. The better. I'm just saying, hair directing might be a Day reference, I guess.
I think it is, man.
I just want to point out Gilligan loves the hair. Gilligan loves the hair director reference, though. That's where it came from. I just want to point that out.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying, the day and age we live in, man.
All right, fine.
Nazis aren't cool.
I'm not saying it. It's the German.
Oh,
forget it.
Oh, Anyways.
The point is,
all right.
So he's in over-the-top director mode against Bay with a Spielberg complex. So he's seeing, the idea is he's selling small business owners on getting him to shooting their ads.
Lots and lots of star wipes.
The most star wipes, by the way. Which
the most.
The editor who puts together the Insider podcast actually did all these star wipes. She's the one who edited this episode.
Kelly Dixon?
Yes, Kelly Dixon.
Okay, nice.
All right, go on.
All right. What's that I see? Albuquerque's next TV star? You can't afford not to be on TV. You're a triple threat. That face. This is my personal favorite, just because it's so ridiculous and hyperbolic. Better watch out for autograph hounds and paparazzi.
I love it when he pulls out the old camera with him. It prints out the prints out the photo.
Oh, God. Get ready to be famous, Albuquerque. The world needs to know about you and your business.
So essentially, this cliff note of it all here is that it's the cheesiest production values, just like Saul Goodman years later. Just a little, and of course he introduces himself as
Saul Goodman
Productions, Saul Goodman Productions. Call me now, and then freeze frames, and it's like Jimmy pauses it on that thing. I love this is like the thing that says that freeze frame, just like that's the wavy freeze frame with the number on the screen, and Kim's there's a lot of star wipes there.
The most star wipes.
Oh yeah. Get ready to be famous, Albuquerque. I'm sorry, it's just a beautiful line. Saul Goodman Productions. So let's
watch out for paparazzi.
So on the whole, this is our birth of Saul Goodman here. Well, again, we have the name, but we never. This is the guy. Saul Goodman's born here.
I would say this is the birth of Saul Goodman. Yes, I would definitely say so.
So this is a huge
Saul
moment.
Goodman was born out of desperation, which I think is incredibly appropriate.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a huge moment for the series, and I was fascinated by Kim processing Saul Goodman here.
Oh, it's such a good final note to end out on the episode, Dragon. It says so much about where we're gonna go with the series moving forward, which is essentially Kim is just like trying to take it in, like Saul Goodman. That guy had a lot of energy. And Dragon, just absolutely perfect last line. Perfect last line. It's just a name.
And then, her line is like, just just like kind of I'm taking it in.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that it's just a name thing, man. I mean, what a way to drive home the episode. I mean, it's because we all know it's not just a name. We all know that's going to be his identity. It's just like that is good prequel writing right there. You know what I mean? That is where prequel writing is at its best.
Absolutely, and of course, just the name is kind of what he tells Walter White down the line in the future. He says, "Well, it's just the name I use for the homeboys. Sell them on the Jewish lawyer. Essentially, that's the Goodman. That's the birth of Saul Goodman. Is in that line. It's just the name. It's like him convincing himself without realizing I've become such kind of like a chameleon in a way. I don't recognize Jimmy McGill anymore."
Right.
Now, the way I took this, and I want to break down Kim's reaction because I think this is very interesting, and this is the thing that really kind of got me. The time's passed, and I think our opinions might change a little bit. We'll break it down as we go through the episodes. I still think a lot of this rings true for me. Is that one, of course, it's a great way to build Saul Goodman, as you said, he has a necessity to help Jimmy in this real moment of kind of like he really needs to sell people in commercials and fast, so he needs Saul Goodman. And again, embodies the cheesiness, kind of doing whatever it takes showman that Jimmy has been capable of. So again, Jimmy, it's a discount version of himself.
Right. Sure.
Now, with Kim's reaction, I think Kim is obviously she's in a little bit of shock, and she is processing because how she reacts to Saul Goodman, of course, will shape her destiny in the series. It's a huge thing. With they're not giving away everything all at once. We're unsure of her reaction, which is what we're reading into. Is that I think she's in shock, but I think at the same time, Tiki, I can read it as I think she's a little excited by the high energy Saul Goodman.
I could see it. I could see it.
Because I in a way, I kind of read it as this kind of like kind of the slipping Jimmy excess is kind of like the exaggerated slipping Jimmy, which she likes slipping Jimmy. She's intrigued by slipping Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like kind of like she's a little again. That's guy's a lot of energy. I think she's saying that a little excited. That was my takeaway from it. That again, it's
And I
kind of
guess
the dark side.
it's more Jimmy who's a little concerned. You know, he's like, don't get
Yeah,
the wrong idea. It's just a name.
certainly.
Interesting. Okay, Dragon. I think we better jump into some final thoughts because this has been about 2 hours. So
Well, yeah.
yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, folks, definitely as we go through these episodes, I just think season 3 as a whole is just getting better and better. It started out a little slower than season 2 started out. I think you and I can both agree there. Like, I don't think the first episode of the season was the show's finest hour by any stretch. But as we've gotten deeper and deeper into it, and as we've evolved Jimmy's character, as we've gotten more stuff with Mike and, you know, more tie-ins to the Breaking Bad of it all, this season has just been fantastic. And I definitely think Off-Brand is just the start of something. You know what I mean? It's a pivotal turning point in the series. Saul Goodman was revealed to us in the most satisfying way I think it possibly could have been. And, you know, just overall through the episode, like I said, I think the episode does a good job of, painting Nacho as a protagonist that we can completely get behind more so than any other time in the series. Just a lot of moving parts in this episode, and while I definitely like the fact that the Off-Brand is kind of like weaved its way throughout the whole context of the show up until this point with the episode. So really good stuff, and it only gets better from here.
All right, now before I get into my final thoughts, we should kind of do the other stuff just to make sure we don't forget it.
Yes, we should.
All right, so let's start with the quotes.
Quotes, sure.
So, folks, of course, like little kind of like everyone goes to like kind of the Tao of wisdom. We're going to the Goodman of wisdom, going for the SG, the old SG wisdom, if you will, kind of like some words of wisdom from the future of good old Saul Goodman. Because of course,
Dragon, there's none in there. I could have sworn I put 5 in. I put 5 in there.
Huh?
This is episode 6.
Right.
I'm a dumbass. Okay, right. But the good news is that with 5 in there, that means that we must have pulled all 5. So we only have 1 to catch up on for episode 7. And I'll make sure that there's another 5 in there.
Whoop-de-doo. Tell me you got the phone on you.
I've got the phone on me.
Hooray. Okay, now we might need to dial this one twice because we don't know. He could be busy selling a lot of commercials. So let's call the actual kind of the not the future Saul Goodman. Let's call the past Saul Goodman.
All right.
So are you ready? Okay, folks at home, you'll get your little orphan decoder rings ready. 505 842 5662.
I tried this number before.
I know. Just I found out how to work. Just try it once.
Okay.
Hold it up.
Ready to reach out to thousands of potential customers. At Saul Goodman Productions, we're standing by to showcase your great service, your great product, and most of all, you. After the tone, your name and your number, and get ready to be a star.
Should I leave my name and number?
No. It's not. Yeah, it's nothing. It's not the massage parlor, Tiki. It's just.
I was gonna be like, my name's Tiki. So you want to be an Imagineer?
Right.
Make me famous, Saul. Anyways, okay. Final thoughts, Dragon.
Right. Okay. So So everyone, so call the number, see what happens. So, anyway, not the massage part, call the Jimmy
I
McGill.
do not endorse calling them.
No, I don't know. Unless you're
don't.
actually gonna partake in massage, do not call it massage part. But no, important thing, I don't want the whole pizza roof scenario going on. But no, seriously, call the 505-842-5662. Just call Saul Goodman Productions just for a laugh. I encourage you to do that. Anyway, so my final thoughts real quick is that again, one of the best qualities of Better Call Saul is the sense of aftermath and realistic consequences, which this episode definitely ushers us into, and the following episodes will keep developing, getting even better. Chuck's here. Chuck's healing journey, being torn down to build himself up, with kind of the tragic punchline that it probably won't end well given the Saul Goodman future. Seeing Saul Goodman being formed in this episode, I love kind of the sense of kind of like excitement yet dread at the same time. I love that it's not just Saul in the suit or anything, but it's Saul Goodman as kind of like a separate personality that will over time kind of be more muddied and kind of be more confusing to tell where does Jimmy end and where does Saul Goodman begin. It's like it's
absolutely that
it's a persona. It's make believe, but it's a deeper truth than Jimmy that he needs to recognize in himself before he can either, like Chuck's been presented in this episode, move forward or stay in the past. So that's episode hits upon a lot of interesting things, and it wasn't the most like groundbreaking, except for, again, the ending really is like kind of our huge kind of monumental step in the series. But the whole episode's very solid, though. I want to make it clear. It's solid. It's solid aftermath, and going forward, it's set up the new status quo, which is big. So everything going forward is just going to be crazy, insane, and really fun.
All right. So that'll do it for this. That'll do it for now, folks. We'll be taking a temporary leave of rest. That'll do it, folks. We'll be taking a temporary recess until next time.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better call Saul. Saul Goodman and Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We'd totally be lawyers.
Totally be the lawyers.
And sell ads.
Look out for autograph hounds and paparazzi.
Starlight.